Terrence Martin, star of Get Away If You Can, calls in. Joseph brings 2 truths and a lie, and David Ayer has no desire to helm a Scarface remake.
Oh, it's time for class.
Class is in session!
Roll call! Bueller?
I'm gonna be late for class.
Bueller?
Am I hallucinating here? Just what in the hell do you think you're doing?
I'm late for class.
You are mine now. You belong to me.
Did you study for the test?
No more complaining. No more Mr. Kim, let's go to the bathroom. Nothing. There is no bathroom.
Hi, and hello, classmates. Welcome to Middle Class Film Class. I'm your host for today, Tyler.
I'm Joseph.
And I'm Peter.
We have a great show in store for you today. Welcome Twitch stream if
you're watching.
If you're watching.
Mitch is here.
Hey, Mitch.
And you can also find us on YouTube and the OG classmates in podcast land.
Yes, absolutely. We're everywhere. We're unescapable at this point.
Yeah, like we're a rising star at this point in the.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, we just crossed 200 subs on YouTube.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you everyone for subscribing to our YouTube and everywhere else where you hear our voices.
Oh yeah, we just cracked 100,000 views on YouTube and 100,000 hours we watched or something like that.
100,000 hours. Oh my god.
Yes, I don't know about that.
Where's all our money?
We're really the punk rock of movie film review podcasts.
My favorite punk rock band, Sheryl Crow.
Hey, don't do it. You disparage Sheryl Crow.
Yeah, she's a delightful lady. She married Lance Armstrong after he left his wife.
Is that right?
Yeah,
wow.
something like that.
I had no idea.
I want to ask you guys something though. Do you guys know anything different about me?
Yeah, you have some new specs.
So Tyler noticed.
New glasses, yeah.
Yes, new glasses.
I noticed immediately. They look really great on you.
You look like a librarian now.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was what I was going for.
Anyways, it's great to be in the Abeyta studio again. And if anyone hasn't noticed, we have lights now behind us. I
Production.
have a weird teal green light. It's not doing really well for my face, but I'm not the one who is in design for the lighting of the studio.
That's the art girl, Brianna, who chose the lights.
Oh, is that right?
From the art department, yeah.
Yeah. Our production design department.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. So we have a great show in store for you all today. So we're going to get into some gab and chatter.
Find some charity, ye lad. Now's the time for gab and chatter.
All right, Pete, I hear that there is an interview that we are about to do with...
Absolutely. Power player, Terrence Martin, who's a writer, director, star of a new movie, Get Away If You Can, who's making they're making their exclusive debut on Tubi on December 15th. So we got him on the back line right now. Terrence, hi, how's it going, buddy? How are you?
How's it going? Good to see you, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Get Away If You Can. This is starring Dominique Braun and yourself, Terrence Martin, also written by, directed by, and also stars Ed Harris, who's he's such a great actor. I've never seen him once phone in like a performance, and it was really cool to see him and in this essentially like a very independent production. And it was pretty awesome. Welcome to the show. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it was awesome to work with Ed. The whole reason this became a movie that you've even seen is really due to Ed. It started out as an experimental film, just my wife and I going and riffing and improvising on an island off the coast of Chile called Robinson Crusoe Island.
Oh, cool.
And we showed it to Ed, and he said, "You guys have something really special here, and I'll play a role, and let's take this to the next level." So we really owe it to him. He liked the indie vibe and the fact that we were not just trying to parrot other films. We're really trying to do our own thing with that. And that works for some people, it doesn't. And we'd much rather polarize an audience than have everybody say it's just like any other film, because I really don't think it is like any other film.
Did I hear you correctly? You did this with your wife? This film?
Yeah, my wife is my co-director and my co-writer, basically because it started off with her and I improvising these 2 characters that were at the end of their marriage. They decided to take this boat trip to see if they'll put it all back together again. Anybody who's lived on a boat knows that's a horrible idea. They end up on this island, but we had like so many couple friends. We were like completely in love. We had so many couple friends that were struggling, and we thought, wow, like there's a good story there about a couple that can try to re-get love as opposed to just falling in love, having it go away and then getting it back again. But when the love seems to be gone, can you get it back? That was the questions we were asking when we originally put together this movie. And Ed's been with his wife for 40 years, which is like
Oh my God.
18,000 years in Hollywood years. They're both actors. His wife's an actress as well. So he was proud that a married couple would take that leap together. And I think he saw it as a real acting challenge to try to fit scripted scenes in with what we had done. And yeah, so we improvised a lot with him. And then I took that, wrote it out, and then we had a few days to shoot with him, which were absolutely incredible.
The film is, like you said, Robinson Crusoe Island. How is it working with all those like hundreds, maybe even like all those seals? There was ridiculous numbers of seals and wildlife. It was pretty cool.
It was super scary because we hired a seal wrangler, a guy there, and he was super blasé about, yeah, like the last tourist came, they got attacked by the seals. Yeah. And we were like, what? Like, that's not a little deal. Yeah, just some bites all over their wrists and their fingers and things like that.
God.
We were like, oh man, are we really going to do this? Because my wife Dominique is a advanced level scuba diver, but of course she's never done it with wild. They're basically like these pit bulls, as you see in the movie, that come right at you. But luckily we got a friendly batch, and in the movie they're super placid and they were really sweet to her.
Oh, okay.
So it could have gone the other way.
A friendly batch.
It looks like they're just chilling on the island and you guys just came along. It looks very natural. I wouldn't have.
I use the term wrangler loosely. He just basically, like, the few tourists that come for years, he's the guy they go to when they want to dive with seals.
Oh,
But
so he's just comfortable around them.
He's not gonna...
he grew up on the island. It's a small island, and it's known for its like fishing village. But all that other stuff we shot was on the other side of the island, where you have to you're just basically stranded there if there's waves. No one will even come and pick you up until the ocean calms down again.
Wow,
it's pretty intense place.
The stuff with Ed, was that filmed in the San Francisco Bay Area? Because it looked like the watchdogs of the Bay in the background of those shots.
It looks similar, but it's Long Beach. It's the port of Long Beach, and that's what you're seeing in the background. Long Beach is LA's major port, one of the major ports of the world, but same kind of look. Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense. Now, when I watched the movie, it, like you said, it's not like anything you've quite seen. It's really hard to put like a specific genre on it. I would say for the listeners, go watch it. It's streaming exclusively on Tubi starting December 15th, so you can watch it for free. But don't go in with any preconceived notions. IMDb has whatever genres that it's set as, but it's somewhere in between all of that. So I equated it to La Aventura mixed with Midsummer. So like,
I love that comparison.
Very much like there's like a psychoactive sort of drug aspect to it, where they're growing weed on the island, and then there is this whole, we're going to live our life on this island, or maybe we're not. Or maybe it's an unreliable narrator aspect too, which makes it pretty cool and pretty interesting, and you got to lean into the movie itself.
Yeah, definitely. And I think because we improvise the scenes, there's a certain realisticness to the scenes with my wife and I that are unnerving to some people. They don't know what to do with them because we're so used to scripted acting, which feels very different than just real human behavior. So we were going for this like ultra realistic, but I think some people, it was a little intense for them. Some people, it's not for everybody. But like I said, I think we made something strong and we're proud of, that stands on its own, and has its own life, which is nice. I didn't want to do something that was just a genre film.
Felt like everything else.
Fit neatly. And I wanted this to be basically for us. We weren't even prepared to put it out until Ed decided to come on board. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, because it was
so personal,
kind of an experiment.
Yeah,
totally.
Another movie that came out this year that is in the same boat from like expectations and the polarizing views that people are seeing is Skinnamarink. Have you seen that then?
I haven't seen it, no, but I've heard of it. It did really well.
It's people are either best thing of the year, untapped my emotions from my childhood and put me in this weird headspace that I can't escape, and then other people are like, this is the most boring, worst, blah 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 blah, and you're like, the truth maybe lies somewhere in the middle there, but it was 100% experimental, and it's a movie I think that people are going to be talking about for a long time. And I hope that Get Away, if you can, gets more eyeballs on it now that it's on Tubi, because it really is not quite like what you've seen before.
Yeah, I think it will, because we've only been charging now on iTunes and Apple and Prime and Roku, and we've done pretty well, but it's a different story when you don't ask people to put their own credit card, even if it's just for a couple bucks. Like now they can just go click it, see it for free. And we're excited about reaching that audience for sure.
Absolutely. Tubi's great because with how expensive streaming prices are now, more people are leaving the trusted platforms and just going to the Freevee and the Tubi and stuff. Because like you said, you could take a chance for free, but taking a chance for $4 or whatever, you're like, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I wonder how the commercial experience is going to go with our movie, though. It's going to be so weird to be like being pitched to buy a truck in the middle of a movie that gets as intense as ours does.
Yeah. That ending, man, it really ramps up in the end. That third act is like, holy shit, that went some places I didn't expect.
Yeah, that's what we were going for. Like, we wanted to introduce all the tropes of a thriller in the first act, but then have it be like, no, like, why do you have to have a gun go off in the third act? I know that's
the Chekhov's gun.
Exactly. We got criticized. Like, we knew that. That's why we did that. Like, but we were trying to challenge people's perception. And that's why we marketed it. It wasn't really our choice or distributor, but the idea was we're going to market it like a thriller, and hopefully you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Nice.
Where it goes from there. Yeah.
I think it was Hitchcock. I think it was Hitchcock says, tell the audience a bomb's going to go off in a minute, and it goes off in a minute. They'll be in suspense for a minute. But tell them it's going to go off in a minute, and it never goes off. They'll be on suspense for the rest of the movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally. So just by introducing that, you create ideas like, how crazy is this guy? Like, where is this gun going to be used? Yeah.
I legitimately had no idea where it was going to go, and I didn't expect the final scene on the beach. I was like, I was like, what the? What that came out, and that was I saw it on a number of most memorable scenes from 2023 lists of the year. And I saw some posts from you and some comments on Twitter at Sharp Reef is your handle. And it was, you had to get up at the crack of dawn on a mosquito infested island completely in the nude to shoot this final scene. How was that?
That was nuts, man. What's crazy about that is we shot that after the original island. So that's right in Malibu colony.
Really?
So we actually had two of our producers as guards, and it was just before people start walking, because in California, people start walking as soon as it's light. So they were like holding off people. We got the scene and just ran out of there. And it's totally stolen. But to anybody who had seen that, they would have thought we were shooting not an art house film.
No.
But one of the funny stories is we had to use the Malibu Colony public restrooms at this little mall to clean ourselves up. And here we are, like with fake tan and looking like we're just coming off an island, and everybody looking at us like we're completely crazy. And we realized what it felt for homeless people who have to just get clean in a public space, because they were just making it their mission to make our lives miserable. And we were like, no, we actually stop here at some time.
Yeah.
Not looking like this.
We're filming a movie.
We just want to wash up. Yeah.
Wow, that's wild. Yeah, and the beard was real, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, I had so much time to wait for Ed that I just decided to grow it out. Because you realize how fake mustaches, even on giant high budget films, like you're like, that does not work on my eye. We did not want that at all.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
you could have a top 5 fake beard movie, like, because I'm shocked that they don't get that right, but I know how hard it is. It takes a really long time, and there's only a few experts in Hollywood who can get it completely 100%.
Yeah, no, it's almost like the uncanny valley. It's like when you see someone with a bad wig, and you're like, okay, I'm too focused on the wig or the beard wig to focus on the story at this point.
Yeah,
so.
It becomes a focal point at that.
Yeah,
exactly. Your brain is preoccupied with the fakeness.
One other question I had about the production: there was a really cool sand sculpture on full display at some point. Who made the sand sculpture? That was pretty cool.
Yeah, Dominique, my wife, is a painter and a sculptor. So we worked with a college here in Chile, and we built it in Santiago, which is the main city of Chile, and had it taken over on an army boat, because that was the only way to ship it to the island. We couldn't even take it on our sailboat because it was too heavy and cumbersome, and it would have fallen off or gotten in the way. So we shipped it over like about a month before production. And it actually sits on a school on the island as the film that came on as a prop. So we donated it to the school there.
Oh, that's really cool. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I got to say, it's hard. So I know how difficult productions on a boat can be, and this seems like a high budget production because you're never at any time confused about what's happening on the boat or the confines of the boat. And everybody says working with kids and animals and shooting on water is the hardest thing. And you guys seem really natural with it. I know you spend a lot of time on the water and you're a big surfer and all that stuff. So it shows, and it's all pretty awesome.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I hope people catch on with it. We have a certain percentage that absolutely fall in love with our film, that write us on Instagram and tell us how much it meant to them. So if we can get that 5% and have millions and millions of people see it, we're happy with that.
Yeah.
One of my favorite movies is 2001, and I was shocked when I read the initial reviews when that came out. Like, I think that movie is a staggering work of genius, and I find something new when I see it all the time. But I think because there's some ambiguity in it, it leaves people to question it, and there is a bit of ambiguity in our film intentionally, and not to compare it to 2001, but as far as the ambiguity goes, I would put us in that same category where you would be right. You could be right if you said it was the worst film, and you could be right if you said it was the best film. I wouldn't try to argue with you on either.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's.
I would argue with you if you call it a stock film, though. If you said, "Hey, this is just like this," or "We're copying someone else," I would say that's bullshit, because we're not at all. We didn't even reference other films when we composed shots. We didn't want to do that at all. It was all just between us and our DP and whatever looked right for the mood we were going for.
Nice. No, that's awesome. I love it, and I think that our listeners will love it. And if you don't, at least you're going to see something that's an absolute passion project and is a very personal movie.
Yeah.
So everybody's listening to this, whether it's on the Twitch stream, the YouTube, or the podcast, go out to Tubi. December 15th was in just a few days when this goes live, and check out. It's called Get Away If You Can. And I can imagine a number of different iterations or interpretations of what the actual title means. It's a little bit of escaping reality. It's a little bit of just getting away from life and starting as something new, and have no preconceived notions or any sort of ideas about what you're getting yourself into. Just let it wash over you in the beautiful Chilean countryside.
Exactly. Hey, man, thanks.
Yeah.
We got to get you as a public relations member next time. That was a great pitch.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no problem. And so, Terrence Martin, thank you so much for joining us. Do you want to stick around to play a little game with Joseph?
Sure. I won't turn down a fun movie game anytime.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. We gotta fix up something on the Zoom here real quick. So
bear with us for a second.
Take your time.
Make sure we don't lose you on our Zoom here.
Oh, you know what? Before we get into that, you said you had an interesting story. You must have gone on the website, mcfcpodcast.com, and seen that my favorite movie is There Will Be Blood.
I love that film too.
Oh, so fantastic. It's a fucking great movie. So tell us, you had a story about that. What's up with the...
Yeah. So when we were finally getting my first movie together, which was a script called The Forlorn, it was about a group that left a Donner Party. It eventually came out called The Donner Party, which I was really unhappy with that title. But an actor had read it, a friend of mine, and we were going to meet to talk about the script and see if there was a role for him. And he said, yeah, I just have this SAG screening. It was a very early screening of There Will Be Blood, and I didn't know much about it. I knew I loved Punch Drunk Love. I knew I loved Paul Thomas Anderson, and of course I wanted to see it, but I had to drive all the way across town to get there. But he's like, yeah, just come. You'll be one of the first in the world to see it. It's at a great theater. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I get all my thing. I get to the theater. I know nothing about what this screening is for or why it's there, because I get there just as it's getting dark, and I have like the perfect seating in this giant cinema, like almost like the Cinerama Dome.
Oh, nice.
And I'm just floored by the movie, like completely like shaking at the end. Like,
yes.
My friend is like, what do you think? And I'm like, what do I think? And all of a sudden the lights come up. Paul Thomas Anderson is there. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm blanking on his name. The star of the film.
Oh, Daniel Day-Lewis?
Yeah, Daniel Day-Lewis is there.
Oh, really?
And they both are just doing a Q&A, which is not all that unusual in LA. But after the Q&A, I'm like, I'm so blitzed by the film, I don't even know what to say to my friend about my own script. He goes, yeah, come on, I want to introduce you to someone. So he grabs me, takes me up on stage, gives Daniel Day-Lewis a huge hug.
Wow.
And he's holding my script the whole time, this Donner Party script, and I'm just thinking the whole time, like hand it to him, this genius actor who just blew me away. But it turns out they had grown up together in England and knew each other since they were kids. It's just one of these crazy LA experiences. And I got to meet Paul Thomas Anderson and hang with Daniel Day-Lewis after that film. And
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Sounds like heaven.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and that's one of the main things I miss in LA is because those kind of things, that was a special one. But those kind of things, like you'll just be flipping through the paper and seeing, oh, wow, like this famous director is doing a retrospective and he's going to talk about his film. And it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I get emails sometimes from PR places that are giving screeners or new release movie sort of stuff. And they'll be like, there's a special screening with a Q&A. It's in New York tomorrow. And I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
Hey, how much is it to fly to New York on last minute notice from Sacramento?
Get a red eye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I think we got it all sorted out. You want to
Yeah, we're good.
jump into your game, Joseph?
Okay, so
All
yes, this is a little game that I've concocted for us all to play. And now that you're here, Terrence, you can join in on the fun. So this is Two Truths and a Lie Director Edition.
Okay, all right.
And I assume you guys know the premise of Two Truths and a Lie. I'm going to read you 3 facts, quote unquote. One of them is a lie, and it is up to you to determine which one is the lie.
Okay.
And I have a list of directors that I'll read off, and then you just pick one. I guess I'll go in an order here. I'll go Pete, Terrence, Tyler.
Okay, cool.
Wait a minute. I'm the host of this show. I go last?
I think Terrence should go first.
All right,
He's
Terrence, Terrence, Tyler, Pete. How about that? Okay. I'm going to list some directors, and then I only have, I guess, like, once someone names a director, that director is out, basically.
Okay, got it.
Unless the person can't determine the lie, then I'll just go to the next person.
all right.
Okay.
Okay? So the directors are Martin Scorsese, Christopher Nolan, Quentin Tarantino, Alfonso Cuarón, James Cameron, Ridley Scott, Guillermo del Toro, Paul Thomas Anderson, Wes Anderson.
I thought this was 2 truths and a lie, not 9 truths and a lie.
I'm giving you the director.
Okay,
names.
okay.
And Greta Gerwig.
Okay.
Of those directors, which one would you
9
like
truths
to
and a
be?
lie.
Of those directors, which one would you like to be quizzed on, Terrence?
Let's go with Paul Thomas Anderson since
Sweet,
we
yeah.
segue into
Perfect.
Okay. And before I read these, I will give you one caveat. One of these directors' truths and a lie are all true.
Oh, okay.
So they're all true. Not for one of them. Not.
You just want to see us fail miserably.
I know.
Yeah, I do.
He's a sick fuck.
So Paul Thomas Anderson, 2 truths and a lie. First one, he is best friends with Christopher Nolan.
Okay.
Phantom Thread is based on a true story.
Okay.
He came up with Dirk Diggler when he was in high school.
Okay. And Terrence is answering this one?
Yes.
Okay. I got my own thoughts.
Isn't best friend subjective? Like, who is confirming this? Like, he may think he's best friends with Christopher Nolan, and Nolan might be like, dude, like, you're number 7 on my list. How could we have them both?
It's actually
like,
Terrence's
agree that
friend. It's actually Terrence's friend is his best friend from England.
Yeah. I based all.
I do know I don't know if he came up with it in high school, but I do know he came up with Dirk Diggler very early on. That he's been wanting to tell that story, and he actually made a short film, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So I do know that one's true. So we'll take that one as a truth.
Okay.
Do we go one by one, or do I?
You just it's
Your pick.
however you want to.
Yeah, your pick.
Whatever your method is.
And I don't know. I love Phantom Thread. I suppose it's based on some sort of designer. He must have researched a lot of designers to get that character. I don't know if you mean it has to be based on one specific man, but he's certainly basing that on the famous tailors of Europe during that time period.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with that he's not best friends with Christopher Nolan.
Okay. What's the answer?
And I think
Joseph?
it's subjective enough that no matter what you say, I'm right.
I based all of this off of what I could find on the internet.
Okay.
Do I actually know? If
And the internet knows who everybody's best
They
friend
could all
is.
be lies. I don't know. So you're saying that he is not best friends with Christopher Nolan, correct?
That's his answer.
That's the
Yeah,
that's
his
the
answer.
that's the
That's
lie.
the lie.
That's my final answer.
That is incorrect.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
Okay. I could tell you, or Tyler, do you want to guess which one the lie is?
Like,
I think it's-
by-
You eliminated one of them already for you. So.
yeah, so it's going to be the Phantom Thread one, right?
Phantom Thread is based on a true story. Is the lie.
Yes. I think it's based off of like an amalgamation of characters, but not any one specific
yeah.
character.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Phantom Thread is not based on a true story.
Yeah, Joseph and I saw the Phantom
Terrence
Thread.
thinks that Christopher Nolan is so unfriendly. He couldn't be afraid.
I don't know. I think Nolan would be intimidating to be friends with. He seems.
Yeah.
He seems.
Yeah, and
What-
two directors that are working that much, like how much time do they have to like go to
They're
the park
texting.
and toss the ball around? You
They're
threw
going
the
out
word
to
best
dinner.
in there, which makes it like best friends. Like they would both have to say they are best friends with each other for it to be true. If you ever get a chance to interview anyone,
That
you
is a
have to
fact.
say, hey,
If it comes down to a
who's your
tie,
best friend, Christopher Nolan?
yeah,
He doesn't say Paul Thomas Anderson.
friend Nolan.
It's like that awkward moment when someone asks if you're dating and then one of you says yes, but one of you says no.
that's a famous Mitch Hedberg joke. It says, "I don't have have a girlfriend. I just have a girl who would be mad that I just said that.
I wanted to do a whole documentary on like all internet rumors like this, like starting with the Richard Gere infamous one, which I don't want to give any power. But you know what? You just go and investigate. Where do these things come from? Who starts them? And just do like a deep dive. It could be really interesting.
Yeah,
we could do the Christopher Nolan.
I'm pretty sure there's a thread on 4chan for that right now.
Okay,
those sleuthers. All right, what you got,
Tyler? Next one. So you can't pick Paul Thomas Anderson.
Quentin Tarantino.
Quentin Tarantino. Okay, for Quentin Tarantino, he almost lost his nipple in a fight with a taxi driver. He considers Kill Bill his best movie. Okay. His middle name is Jerome.
I like the simple last question.
So which one is the lie?
Pull yourself together, Tyler. What's the lie?
What in hell were those questions for Quentin Tarantino? I thought that was going to be a softball one, but
there are no softballs in this game.
I'm going to go the lie.
The lie? You haven't seen The Lie?
No, I think I'm going to go with the him not thinking Kill Bill is his best film.
So you think he doesn't consider Kill Bill his best movie? That is correct.
Very good.
He considers Once Upon a Time in Hollywood his best movie.
Oh, interesting.
Okay. I didn't know that I didn't know he thought Kill Bill was like not his favorite movie, but Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, it's okay.
I'm gonna say for me,
it's number 2 for me.
Is it? What's your number 1?
Yeah, Pulp Fiction. I just grew up at the time. I was 18, I think, or 19 when it came out. It just blew me away. Like I still watch it every year.
I think I've jockeyed back and forth between that and Inglourious Bastards as my number 1 with.
Oh, really? I worked on Inglourious Bastards.
Oh, no shit.
I test screened that for Quentin. I did the first screening ever at the Bridge in LA. And I don't know if you guys know about test screening, but you ask people to fill out all these little questionnaires. And Quentin took those questionnaires and threw them in the trash right in Harvey Weinstein's face. I never saw anything like it before.
Oh my
and said, I'm not changing a fucking frame of this movie. And I was like, oh my God, dude, you are the coolest. I can't believe you just, because most directors are scared shitless testing the movie. He just had utmost confidence in the film.
That's amazing.
He didn't even want to hear it. But he did go out and chat with the audience a little bit, just saying, hey, what'd you guys think about it? It was pretty interesting.
That's incredible.
Man. If I could kibitz with Quentin Tarantino, that would be just gangbusters.
That's a great story.
Okay, Pete.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tarantino and Paul Thomas Anderson are off.
I wasn't listening when you gave me the list. Give me
so Martin Scorsese, Christopher Nolan, Alfonso Cuarón, James Cameron, Ridley Scott.
Give me James Cameron.
James Cameron.
I knew you were going to say that one.
Jimmy C.
Okay,
Jimmy C.
James Cameron.
Okay.
Star Wars Episode 4, the original Star Wars, was the reason James Cameron went into the film industry.
Okay.
He wrote Terminator in his car. He was the second person ever to reach the bottom of the Mariana Trench.
I'm going to go... So, timeline makes sense for Star Wars. He would have been a youth at the time. Not a pipsqueak, but a youth. I want to say Terminator. Yeah, okay, I could see him writing Terminator on, when he's early on in Hollywood, wherever he can get his stuff in. Mm-hmm. I don't think anybody's reached the bottom of the Mariana Trench. That's going to be my guess. That's a lie.
That's a lie?
Yeah.
You are correct.
Wait, what?
That is the lie.
Nice.
Yeah. But he was the first person to reach the bottom of the Mariana Trench.
Wow.
Oh, there.
Yeah.
Good for him.
He spent 3 hours down there.
And then like 3 days decompressing on the way back up.
Yep.
Good for Jim.
And
For Jim.
Yeah, it was
Good
Star
for
Wars
Jim.
Episode 4 was the reason he got into the film industry. He was a truck driver before that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep.
Can you imagine
See, Tyler?
James Cameron?
Tyler, you could be the next James Cameron. You're
my
driving your
God.
truck right now.
That's absolutely correct. That's absolutely correct. I didn't even think about that.
What directors do we have left for Terrence?
Okay, so we have Martin Scorsese, Christopher Nolan, Alfonso Cuarón, Ridley Scott, Guillermo del Toro, Wes Anderson, and Greta Gerwig.
Oh, it's back to me?
Back to
Yes,
you,
sir.
Terrence.
Let's go with Greta.
Greta. Okay. Greta Gerwig. She grew up fencing, realizing that she'd rather do ballet. Greta and Kate McKinnon were roommates when they were 19. And Greta wrote Dave Matthews of the Dave Matthews Band personally to use his music for Lady Bird.
Wow.
Dave Matthews.
I don't know many personal details. I'm just gonna say the first one was a lie.
The fencing ballet one? Yes, that is the lie.
What?
She grew up doing
I
ballet.
had a 33% chance. I can't
She grew up
chalk
doing
that one up for
ballet,
skill.
realizing she'd rather do fencing.
Okay.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay.
I'm on the board.
Hell yeah.
Tyler. Do you want me to go through the list again?
No, you don't have to go through the list
Okay.
again. I'm gonna choose Martin Scorsese.
Martin Scorsese. Okay. Martin Scorsese. The Departed is Scorsese's highest rated film on IMDb. He taught Oliver Stone and Spike Lee at NYU. Madonna and Tom Cruise were almost in Goodfellas.
Okay. The lie has to be The Departed.
That is correct.
Very good, Tyler.
Yes.
I think it's the second highest rated film.
Goodfellas number one.
Yep.
It
has to be.
I was gonna
I
say
tested
though. I
The
was like,
Departed. I did the first screening of Departed in Chicago as well.
oh, here
And,
we go. He's regaling us with another tale of his
You're connected.
Hollywood
Well, this was just a job. It was like every week, every Friday, you got a new film. You didn't
That's
even
so
know what
cool.
it was. You would just go to the office and they would say, "This is The Departed in Chicago," and this was like 7 months before they locked the cut. And there were all these improvisations of Jack Nicholson, like
Oh,
going
that's so cool.
crazy and
That is-
drugged up. And I love the film, but those moments really like took the audience by surprise. And I couldn't believe that Scorsese actually trimmed them out when the final cut came.
Wow.
Oh my
Pretty impressive
goodness.
to see that he had the wherewithal to realize that they took away from the story a little bit, even though they were brilliant improvisation.
Yeah, Nicholson's his character is so good in that. He's an all-time mob
Yeah.
boss in that.
Yeah, so creepy. Yeah.
Okay. Who did I just ask? Tyler?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I'm
Pete.
gonna go Nolan.
Wait a minute,
I'm gonna go Nolan because that's who I remember.
That's
Okay.
what I remember.
Yeah.
Okay, Christopher Nolan.
All right.
Following is
Okay.
Christopher Nolan's lowest rated movie on IMDb.
Okay.
One of his movies is a remake. He has used the same producer for all of his movies.
I know Insomnia is a remake, and I think Following probably is his lowest rated movie, just because it doesn't have the glitz that the other movies have. So I'm gonna go with the third one. He uses the same producer.
That is incorrect.
Oh, bummer.
Insomnia is his lowest rated
Really?
movie on IMDb,
Oh, son of a bitch.
followed by Following.
Oh, okay.
And he has used the same producer, which is his wife,
Oh,
for all of his movies.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Emma Thomas is his wife, and she's been with him since the beginning.
interesting.
I don't know if they've been married the entire time, but she's produced all of his movies.
That's exciting. All right, cool.
Okay, Terrence, back to you. Who's left is Alfonso Cuarón, Ridley Scott, Guillermo del Toro, and
Let's
Wes
go with
Anderson.
Ridley Scott.
Ridley Scott? Okay.
My man.
Ridley, good old Ridley, old man Ridley. Okay.
I haven't seen Napoleon yet, so I hope there's no Napoleon question.
There is-
I'm dying.
Napoleon. No, I'm just kidding. Ridley Scott. Okay. He claims that Alien and Blade Runner are the best sci-fi movies ever made next to Space Odyssey and Star Wars.
Okay.
He and Russell Crowe
Humble.
would wrestle on the set of Gladiator in the downtime. Enya, the singer Enya, has a song dedicated to him.
Oh, that's so weird. So specific.
Yeah, Russell. As much as I like to imagine them all oiled up wrestling on the set of Gladiator,
What do they call it? School rules, where they're just nude.
Roman Greco style.
but I've had a lot of friends work with Ridley and said he's so obsessed with like painting each scene, like every little detail that he puts in. He's all about his frame that I wouldn't imagine he had the time to wrestle Russell Crowe very much. So I'm gonna go with that one.
That is correct.
Can you
I
imagine
completely made that one up. Like,
an elderly Ridley Scott?
No,
wrestling?
he was young at that point.
Well,
It was 20 years
mean,
ago.
Youngish.
20 years ago.
he was in the
He's-
60s.
He
Okay,
says,
well,
you, Crow, me, on the ground, now.
Yeah.
You threw that one out though, where it was so ridiculous that like that one had to be one. Like
Because some of them, it's like,
sometimes,
that can't be true. Like,
Now, if it was Michael Bay wrestling with Russell Crowe, I believe it.
yeah, or Peter Berg for
Yeah.
sure would take him on.
P-Berg.
okay.
All right.
Tyler. Left is Cuarón, Guillermo del Toro, and Wes Anderson.
Let's go with Guillermo del Toro.
Old Guillermo. Okay. Guillermo del Toro's father was kidnapped, and James Cameron helped pay the ransom.
Whoa.
His grandmother attempted to exorcise him as a child, like get a demon out of him, not like
Yeah.
get on the treadmill.
I get it. I get it. Yeah.
And his sister is a witch.
His sister is a witch.
Okay, so
Don't you talk about a sister like that.
She's a bruja.
yeah. Jesus Christ.
Talk it out, Tyler. It's an audio medium.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I am so sorry, I forgot. Yeah, I think it's going to be James Cameron paying his ransom out of a kidnapping.
I bet that's
that's
true.
true.
I bet that's true.
That is incorrect.
Are you serious?
His father was kidnapped in 1997,
I heard
and
that.
James Cameron helped pay the ransom.
Well, can't win them all.
Pete, do you want to guess the lie?
I think the third one. I think his grandma did try to exorcise him.
His sister is not a witch. I don't even know if he has a sister.
Yeah. Why is that the most believable one, Tyler? His
Well,
sister
because-
is a witch.
Well,
It's certifiable.
I was like going through the line of logic of
They
thinking
threw her in the
like,
water and she floated.
But it's not a big
That's
surprise that his grandmother would attempt to exorcise him as a child with his obsession with monsters and stuff.
Yeah, he's reading Edgar Allan Poe as an infant.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
All right.
Okay, Pete.
Quaron and who else?
Wes Anderson.
I'm gonna go Wes.
Oh, Wes?
I don't know a whole lot of Quaron. I know Quaron, but just he's not in the zeitgeist as much.
Okay, Wes Anderson. He and Owen Wilson were roommates in college.
That's true. I know that.
He used Google Earth to location scout for Moonrise Kingdom.
Okay.
Martin Scorsese names him the next Martin Scorsese.
How narcissistic do you have to be?
No, I'm gonna say the third one is a lie because that's Ari Aster that Martin Scorsese says is the next one.
That is incorrect.
Oh, son of a bitch.
How narcissistic do you have to be to say that you're the next you?
No, that he's the next him.
Yeah, he's the next him.
You're the
sorry.
next me.
No, Martin Scorsese says you're the next. That Wes is the next Martin Scorsese.
Yeah,
It's still a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
He's earned it.
you're gonna be me.
but surprise, they're all true.
Oh, okay. Son of a bitch.
Wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense.
I told you. I told you in the beginning.
That's the trick
There
question.
was one caveat. There
I'm
was
glad
one,
I got the trick one.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right.
Okay, and the last director you're assigned is Alfonso Cuarón, Terrence.
All right, let's do it.
He is the first Mexican-born director to receive Best Director. He won Best Director for Gravity, and he and Guillermo del Toro were in the same film class.
Ooh, good ones.
He didn't win for Gravity.
That is incorrect.
Oh.
Well, he
What,
didn't?
did he won Best Director for Gravity and Roma back to back, or no?
I don't know. I don't think he won for Roma,
No, he didn't.
unless I read it wrong.
No, I'm thinking of Iñárritu run back to back the Revenant and Birdman
Perhaps
for Best Director.
The lie was he and Guillermo del Toro were not in the same film class.
Okay. That's too. Yeah.
Wow. I didn't remember Gravity was the Best Picture winner, but
Best Director.
Best Director winner.
Best Director. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely didn't win Best Winner. That's a fun game. It's an involved one. It makes my noodle think.
Yeah, and you get learn some fun facts about.
I believe Sandra Bullock got the most money in the history for that role because it was originally offered to Angelina Jolie, so she had a huge percentage of the first dollar.
Really?
Gross, and ended up making like hundreds of millions off that movie.
Oh my god!
Wow,
incredible.
Yeah.
Good for her. And so basically, they had the same offer for Jolie, and then she turned it
Well,
down.
she upped it because she knew she was now like the director's second choice or the studio's second choice, so she just had carte blanche to just ask for
Oh, okay.
the moon. I'll throw a little pun in there.
Perfect.
Thank you all
Thanks,
for
guys.
playing the Two Truths and a Lie Director Edition.
And Terrence, thank you so much for joining us on the show, for playing a game, and for bringing us your movie, Get Away If You Can.
Sure, man. Thanks for checking it out, and thanks for getting the word out. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll talk to you soon, buddy. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Have a good one.
Later.
Bye.
Right.
Bye.
Oh, that was great. That was a fun game.
What a delight.
So I know we're running on a little bit of time right now, so I'm gonna push my news story out of the way so we can get into some streaming picks.
Before we get to that, I have something I have to read. I must. It's a requirement.
You must read it.
Because we had a contest.
That's right. Yeah, the
on
Die
the YouTube
Hard
page.
contest. Yeah.
Yes, we had a Die Hard.
Yeah.
So here is basically what we did. We have a smashy hot steel handmade Die Hard Christmas ornament of John McClane as a TV dinner in the air conditioning duct in Die Hard.
Yes.
I know what a TV dinner feels like. And we put basically a request out. We have a couple videos. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie at all? And we got 17 entries. All we had to do was go to the page, go to one of the videos, comment, yes or no.
You had to do.
Yeah, all you had to do, the listener, and be a subscriber. And if you're a subscriber, we're going to choose one of the comments at random. We got 17 comments spread across I think it was 3 videos that we made. And lucky user at Hamstract, which I didn't think was Eric Holmes. I thought it was just a coincidence, but I sent a message to him and he said, "Nope, that's me." Our buddy Eric Holmes, who is hamslime@gmail.com is his email, and
If you want to send him an email.
and his username on YouTube is Hamstract, like abstract.
Yeah.
I don't know what
the ham.
he loves ham. If there's one thing we know about Eric, he loves ham, and he does not subscribe the Die Hard. He's just hired the conversation, really.
Yeah.
So
So
here's
the person who doesn't describe Die Hard as a Christmas movie
Yes.
gets the
now he can now he's gonna live in his own personal hell because it's gonna be people are gonna go, "Oh, this is an interesting ornament. What is this from?" And he's gonna go, "Oh, this is Die Hard. I won it in a contest." It's like, "Oh, what's the contest about?"
It's gonna be a whole conversation.
yeah.
And the comment that won,
I love it.
A comment that one says, "I don't hate watch you guys. I just regular watch you guys, or gently love watch, if I may be so bold." Because we mentioned in the video that Eric is probably hate watching this right now.
Oh, hey.
because of his disdain for the conversation.
Yeah.
And then he says, "I don't care if someone calls Die Hard a Christmas movie. I just don't think it's a good Christmas movie. If you put Die Hard on a list of action movies, it's going to land near the top. On a list of Christmas movies, Die Hard is at the bottom." So good point. I never thought about it like that.
Very strong opinion.
And our show forger, Joel, is in the chat, and he says, "Die Hard is the divider that signals the beginning of the Christmas season." That's right. Barefoot, walking on broken Christmas ornaments through that conference room.
Yeah.
So congratulations, Eric. We'll get that.
Congratulations.
We'll get that in the mail out to Colorado.
Yeah.
You can talk to Denver Jeff.
No.
Denver Jeff. Where's Denver Jeff?
I don't know.
I think he's doing a stretch in the pokey right now.
And then lastly, before I relinquish my time to streaming picks, we have a new Patreon member.
Wow.
Air horn's getting a lot of use today. Yes. So we have, I'm going to send this, Tyler, I'm going to send this to you.
Okay.
We have a new Patreon member who is Binge Lord Dan, our old pal.
Okay.
He joined the group. And he sent me his real name, and he asked me specifically. I'm going to send it to our group chat right now, Tyler.
Okay.
Go ahead and click on that and see if you can pronounce his name.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
That's not that bad.
Yeah. What's our new Patreon member, Tyler?
Yeah, our new Patreon member is Dan Kowecki.
Dan Kowecki. Pretty close. Dan Kowecki is how it's pronounced.
Oh, he's Polish.
Wait a minute.
He's Polish.
There's a W in that name, though.
Apparently, Poland, the consonants have no rules. So thank you, Binge Lord Dan, a.k.a. Binge Daddy. If you want to follow him, it's his username, binge_Lord_Dan on Twitter.
Yeah.
Thanks for following, buddy, and we appreciate the support.
Oh, and speaking of my horrible pronunciation of words, the good friend of the show, Jack Fitzpatrick.
Oh, yeah.
He made some incredible fan art of
Mulholland Drive.
of my putting him next to the face of a cow on the movie poster of Mulholland Drive.
What drive? What drive? What kind of what's the title?
We're not gonna get into it.
Mulholland Drive.
Mulholland Drive. I finally pronounced it correctly. But
all right.
Anyways, yeah, go check that out on our pages.
Our Facebook page.
Yeah, I got a really great laugh. Like, because he's on the underside of our planet Earth, I saw it at 3 a.m. and I was squinty eyed and I saw it and I just got a really great chuckle. It's the really great stuff. Anyways, let's get into some streaming picks.
Movies.
Wanna watch a movie?
Yes, I do.
Disney Plus. Oh, HBO Max.
If I don't get the pick, show's over.
I have grown accustomed to Hulu Plus.
Amazon Prime. I like Netflix.
You found the pick.
All right, streaming picks for movies that we have watched this week. Pete, what do you have for us?
Oh, I'm going to go first? Okay.
I thought we were going in reverse order.
Yeah, we can. That's totally fine. So I watched, I don't know how much of these are actually streaming, but I watched, it's a first one that's on, I want to say it's Peacock. It's A Wonderful Knife. It's a Wonderful Knife. Have you guys heard about this one?
Yes. I have. Yes.
So it's streaming on Shudder and AMC Plus, not Peacock. But this is a new release movie. It's basically it's touted as a cross between It's a Wonderful Life meets Scream.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's the synopsis. After saving her town from a psychotic killer, Winnie Carruthers' life is less than wonderful. When she wishes she'd never been born, she finds herself in a nightmare parallel universe where without her, things could have been much, much worse. So
sounds heady.
Yeah, I did not love this movie. This is an anti-streaming pick.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not great. It's not terrible, but I think if you're like a movie aficionado, if you watch a lot of movies and you have an expectation of where things are going to go and like what you can expect from, like a regular studio movie, and it's RLJE, I believe, is the studio. So, I mean, it makes some, they produce a number of kind of lower budget sort of horror stuff for Shudder.
Sure.
And, but it's got a pretty good cast. It's got Joel McHale is in it. Justin Long is in it. And
ignore that.
And Justin Long he plays like a douchebag sort of mayor type.
Big surprise.
Yeah, exactly. He's very much typecast. The second you see him, you're like, oh, he's the bad guy. This asshole again.
Yeah.
And basically, it has a really interesting plot device where you see the entirety of what would be like this kind of horror, scary movie play out in the first act. And it like start to finish, and you're like, where's the movie going to go now?
Yeah.
Cut to a year later, Christmas at the same town, and she's haunted by this trauma that she's experienced from this event, this slasher event that she experienced, and she was in the heart of it. And she basically has an It's a Wonderful Life moment where she's like, I wish I was never born. And the ghost of Christmas future takes her away and takes her to an alternate reality where she's talking to her family. And she's like, it's me, it's Susie or whatever. And they're like, who? I only have one child and he's dead and it's not you. And so she has to go through basically reliving all that stuff all over again. But in this world, the killer survived because she stopped the killer in the original. So now the killer's been on the loose for this whole time.
So is she like trapped in this world?
Yes, she's trapped in this. She's trapped in this alternate world, and she doesn't like it. But the interesting thing is, there's a lot of cool things they could have.
I don't think I would either.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of really cool things they could have very much could have done with this plot, but it's a lot of it's squandered. So overall, the places the plot went had me interested, and it was a cool idea, but I just wish the writer-director did more with it. It feels like a lot of missed opportunities, but overall, it's better than what I've expected for a pun title like It's a Wonderful Knife.
It's a wonderful knife.
Yeah, go into it with whatever you kind of know what you're getting, but it's pretty schlocky, and the acting is not so good. The other thing that really irritated me about it was that I'm all for inclusion. I like the fact of diversity and including different walks of life and stuff.
Who doesn't?
This feels like a lot of people don't, surprisingly. But this feels like the studio had like a bingo card of different walks of life, and they shoehorned literally every single one into the plot.
Yeah, I can see where you're going with
it's
that.
A little. It's not bad. It's just very distracting. Like you're like, oh, okay, that you have the lesbian aunts, and one of them has like a port wine stain marking on her face. Both of the kids are gay. There's an interracial child that's never explained. That's like the granddaughter of somebody, and it's like, how is she? it's just jarring. It's almost like every single opportunity it gets taken, and it's not bad for the diversity sake of it. It's just jarring, and it's almost like feels
for the sake of
it feels pandering more than anything. So, so anyways, It's a Wonderful Knife that's streaming on
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's streaming on AMC Plus and Shudder. Next up, I streamed The Exorcist Believer.
Ooh.
Yes.
I've been meaning to check that one out.
Have you seen it yet, Joseph?
No, I have not.
Okay, so this is streaming on Peacock. This is a new release. This is the latest in the Exorcist franchise.
Is that a Blumhouse picture?
I think it is. Yeah, I think it is because it's David Gordon Green directed, and it's Danny McBride is a producer. I mean, they paired up for the Halloween trilogy.
Yeah,
the most recent Halloween trilogy. So I mean, it might be. But this was only slightly better than It's a Wonderful Knife. It's
oh really?
Yeah,
it's only
slightly better than that, the kind of schlocky pun movie.
Oh no.
And it's unfortunate just because it comes from the franchise of The Exorcist, but when you look back at the legacy of the Exorcist franchise, there's one absolute classic and a sequel which is pretty good, has some good parts in it, but is overall not a fantastic movie, which would be Exorcist 3 in my opinion.
Yes.
And the rest of them are pretty shit. The rest of the sequels are pretty shit, right? It's not, and this is just my take on it.
Yeah.
But when you're bringing in this like legacy reboot or legacy sequel to this beloved franchise, all the people are comparing it to is the original, the classic. So,
of course, it's like one of the greatest movies ever made. One of the most iconic horror movies ever made.
But Prometheus was also a late sequel to an iconic franchise, an Alien
prequel.
Yes, you're right, prequel. But we got Prometheus, and a lot of people shitted on it because it was not like Alien or Aliens. It was a completely different type of movie, which is like that entire franchise's mainstay. Alien is different than Aliens, which is different than Alien 3, which is different than Alien Resurrection. They all have their own flavor and kind of genre like specificity.
When there's different directors for each of them. Then,
but Prometheus goes back to Ridley Scott, I believe.
Yeah.
And so I think people were excited about that. I love Prometheus.
I do too.
I do not love Exorcist Believer.
So these are all anti-streaming picks, it sounds
so far.
It's fine. It's a 3-star movie, but it's like bordering on 2.5 for me. Just because the quality of the production is good. Ellen Burstyn, again, shoehorned back in. It's not a spoiler that she's in the movie. She tries to do the exorcism, and it doesn't explain why she feels like she's capable of doing it. It's like
not like a priest or a nun.
She can't. She can't even be a priest.
She just moseys in there and tries to exorcise these two. Oh,
get out of there!
There's two girls.
I got some experience with this.
It's pretty close. Both of those are almost said exactly verbatim.
Hey,
in the
you
movie.
Get out of there right now!
Yeah, by all the means of everything holy, I cast you out. The demon's laughing in unison with the two girls.
Is the demon Pazuzu?
It is. It is Pazuzu.
He's back.
Oh my god,
Pazuzu's back.
Pazuzu's back somehow. Yeah, so that's streaming on Peacock if you want to get into that.
Okay.
I'm not going to say don't see it. I think it's worth seeing just because of the nature of completion of the series or whatever. But yeah, it's fine. It's fine. And then I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this because I do want to talk about the movie I saw in theaters. But I went back and rewatched Sin City from 2005, streaming on Max, DirecTV, and Cinemax right now. And boy, howdy, is that a fun movie.
That is a fun movie.
That is a fun movie. Every single person is acting on 10, level 10. Yeah. Michael Madsen, it looks like he's phoning it in for his performance. He's like, you're on the edge of retirement and you got a bum ticker. You're not going to go in there.
I love it.
And you're like, it seems so bad, like poorly acted, but it's like it fits perfectly for that role. And
yeah, like it plays out like this was the precursor to 300 because it's a Frank Miller comic. Sin City is.
Yeah,
so like it's like filmed in a way where it's supposed to be like a comic book rather than like.
And this is Robert Rodriguez, Quentin Tarantino, and Frank Miller are all credited as directors on this.
Oh, Tarantino is credited?
Yeah,
wow.
I never quite realized that, but I think they might have just done different segments.
Pretty sure it was Robert Rodriguez who directed this, and then Tarantino was just like a producer on it.
Yeah, they're all credited as director though, which is interesting.
And then Frank Miller directed the second one.
A Dame to Kill For.
Yeah, that one wasn't that great.
So this is starring, if anybody hasn't seen Sin City, it's a black and white, mostly in sepia-toned comic book, dripping with a very comic booky noir vibe, pulp vibe, starring Bruce Willis, Jessica Alba, Clive Owen, Mickey Rourke, Rutger Hauer, Benicio del Toro, Alexis Bledel, Michael Madsen, Powers Booth, Nick Stahl, Devin Aoki, Michael Clark Duncan, Rosario Dawson, Carla Gugino, Josh Hartnett, Jamie King, Brittany Murphy, Elijah Wood.
Oh my god! This sounds like a very expensive movie.
I know, it really did.
I didn't realize Rosario Dawson was in this movie.
She's like one of the main assassins. She wears a full body fishnet suit.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
I haven't seen the movie.
I don't
in
know
a
how
while.
you could forget.
There are some,
Well, I haven't seen the movie in a while, so
there are some babes. This is a very babe-alicious movie. There's some really inventive kills. They do some great stuff with blood that's like portrayed as like white paint instead of red blood.
Yes, yeah.
So it can be very gruesome and get past the MPAA for like a NC-17 or rated X or something.
And then the yellow guy.
The yellow piss monkey.
Yeah.
So yeah, Sin City is
He's made of piss.
People like to shit all over it. People like to shit all over it because
wait, really?
Yeah, because it's just
I've never heard one thing
hyper
bad about
stylized.
it.
There you go. It's hyper stylized. It's dripping with like non-realism, and it's like a bro-y, I think, type of movie. Some people think of it like that, like 300.
I don't know if I agree with that characterization.
I don't agree with it either. But what I'll say is,
I'm not surprised that people would think that though.
yeah, what I like to say is that it had a very specific goal in mind.
Sure.
To make a real comic book into a movie, not a comic book movie, but make a comic book into a movie, and it absolutely nailed that.
Yeah.
So watch that. It's streaming on Max right now and DirecTV if you have that. But my number one recommendation for the week is not streaming, but I have to talk about it.
Okay.
This is in theaters right now. This is Godzilla -1. Holy shit. This movie is...
It's a lot of buzz on the internet before that movie.
Yeah. Going into this week, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse was my number one.
Yeah. I
have a few options for number two. Maybe The Creator. That was really high up there for me. This, I think, has surpassed those. And I think this is my number one. I'm still on a movie high from this, but this is brought to us by Toho, the original Godzilla studio, which created Godzilla and has made countless Godzilla movies over the years.
Yeah.
The history and the franchise of Godzilla is really interesting, where they've licensed out Godzilla to various sources, bringing it to America famously with the Roland Emmerich movie starring Matthew Broderick. Critically not handled well, and
I like that movie. That was fine.
It's fine. It was fine. But
the babies, the Godzilla babies.
Yeah.
Godzilla babies.
I had a toy of one of those.
Yeah, and the redesign of Godzilla. There's a number of rules that Godzilla has to follow that Toho requires when you license him out as a character in your movie. And part of that is how he looks, how many scales are down his spine.
Wow, it goes that specific.
Very specific. Okay. And that Godzilla is not supposed to be the bad guy. He never is supposed to be a villain. He's supposed to be like a sympathetic force almost.
Okay.
And that he doesn't outright kill people. Like, he might kill people by the destruction.
Accident.
They just happen to be there where he's walking.
Yeah.
Whoops, sorry.
He's like, I'm going to keep walking like this. And if you get in my way, that is your fault.
Okay.
Godzilla.
Toho threw all the rules out in this one.
Really?
There is death. There is carnage. There are people being bitten in half and ripped in half.
By Godzilla?
By Godzilla. Yeah.
Wow.
He has such a huge mouth.
Purposefully.
How would he just bite one person?
So that's a valid question. Valid question, Joseph. Let me tell you. At the beginning of the movie, and I'm not going to give any major plot points away, but I will give some basics.
Big lizard.
At the beginning of the movie, lizard pretty big. At the end of the movie, lizard really big. Okay.
Wow.
This entire story could roll out without Godzilla even being in the movie. And when I say that, that means I'm essentially saying that the story is very human. And it takes place in a post-World War II Japan.
So it's like a period piece.
It's a period piece. It is. And it actually takes place at the very beginning. There's like a flashback that takes place right in the final days of World War II. And it follows a kamikaze pilot who was ordered to kamikaze knowing that Japan is about to basically secede to the war.
Yeah.
And he is having this internal struggle because he has a conversation with a mechanic who's going to fix his plane that says essentially like, it's a hard thing to do to be given the order to go kamikaze, knowing what's going to happen in a week when we basically surrender.
Yeah.
And he has doubts, and he survives, and he goes back home to a home that's destroyed. His parents are killed, but his neighbors know that he was a kamikaze pilot, and he's returning, which means his life is shameful.
Oh, so he's ostracized.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
He's ostracized, yes.
He is ostracized, yes. He's
Sorry.
very close. Ostracized. There you go.
Ostracized.
And he is absolutely a pariah in the community because he did a shameful act of returning to war when he was ordered to kill himself.
How dare you come back?
Yes. And the story, and that basically the story follows him and living with himself and the decision he's made, and he's happy that he has a life now and that he can reconnect with people in life and live a life, but it's a tortured life. And following him through his own life.
And then somehow Godzilla emerges from the sea.
Absolutely. Godzilla comes out
I heard what you did. Or didn't do.
Godzilla comes out of nowhere and wreaks havoc. And he feels a personal duty to do something about it because he almost feels like his life was owed. Like he's living on borrowed time because he already had his life given away. And he chose not to do it.
I already know the ending of this movie.
So... all that being said, it's a very personal story. If you told me a week ago that I was going to be sobbing in a movie theater at a Godzilla movie, I would tell you you're crazy.
He kamikazes into Godzilla.
I had 3 separate moments where I got teary-eyed and 1 moment where I was openly weeping in the theater. At this movie. I'm not. Yeah, I was almost nobody around me, so I'm like, but goddamn, this fucking Godzilla movie. It really affected me. So,
how long was it? Like, was it like a 2-hour movie, or is it just like a good hour and a half?
I want to say it's close to 2 hours. I don't know off the top of my head.
No, I know. I'm just like.
I want to say it's about 2 hours.
Did it feel like a long movie?
I wanted it longer, to be honest.
You did.
Wow. I wish it never stopped. Okay. And there's Joseph, can you put the music on? Just go to the Spotify and look up Godzilla -1. Okay. I know, I hope I'm not overselling this so people like see it and they're like, okay, I mean, it was pretty good, but it's not that good. Go to the very bottom, the medley, number 3. Very bottom. There we go.
This one?
Yeah, suite number 3.
Okay. I gotta do this real quick.
Oh, you don't have it on there?
Not yet.
Okay.
Here. Go and talk to me right now.
So I hope I'm not overselling this to people. They're going to go into it and essentially go, it was pretty good, but it wasn't that good.
Sure.
I don't think I did. I don't think I am, just because you have the Godzilla versus Kong monster verse, which is the American version. It was basically Godzilla 2014, directed by Gareth Edwards. Yeah, turn that up.
It's not a rap song.
I know. Simon Says. When this damn song comes on in the theater, it was shaking, and Godzilla's looming overhead. I was a mouth agape. Yeah, this is the hero anthem.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's great music. It's great music.
It skyrocketed to the top of my #1 score of the year. And I know it's a familiar score, but it's remastered essentially for this movie.
At the beginning again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just that.
Yeah. It's like an overblown horn section or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, God, it's so good.
Yeah, great stuff. All right. So, I mean, like, you can check that out in theaters.
Yeah. And there is a little there's a little bit of everything right now for Godzilla fans, because we have the Monsterverse, which was 2014's Gareth Edwards, and then it was Kong Skull Island.
Yes.
And then it was Godzilla King of Monsters, and then it was Godzilla versus Kong. Yes. And now we're getting Kong X Godzilla, which is coming out soon. And those are the cheesy...
I know, it's a lot of Godzilla properties.
Besides 2014's Gareth Edwards one, I don't think that was cheesy really at all. It was played more in the same vein, and I loved that one. It's my favorite of the Monsterverse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now they're getting a little bit more fun. They're turning into like comic book campy sort of stuff, which is fun in its own right. Supposedly, there's like a 5-minute uninterrupted fight scene between Kong and Godzilla in the new one.
That's awesome.
Wait, it looks like they're teaming up in the new one.
Yeah, it's gonna be basically
Versus
Rocky 3, and there's complete with a bro run on the beach where they're running side by side.
I love it.
Godzilla has a robot arm.
Yeah,
a King Kong has like a mecha arm.
So there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. Have that and be fun and know that you're gonna get in a great popcorn movie.
It looks like a Rampage.
And then.
Yeah.
And then if you want something serious, which is going to have societal connotations, turning away from your past and turning away from like pressures of your historical types of living and pressures from society and the way that the Japanese culture evolved over time from pre-World War II in the samurai era to the modern day now where they are. There's all that wrapped into Godzilla -1. So I cannot say enough about it. Watch Godzilla -1 and go see it in theaters because this movie was made off of $15 million.
Wow,
and it
really?
looks better than most movies that are made for 80 in Hollywood.
You sold me.
Fucking go watch it. Go watch it in theaters and give it your money. And the director, I hope the director makes Godzilla +1.
Godzilla.
Yeah, that sounds
-2.
great.
Yeah. The name comes from after World War II, Japan was knocked down to 0. And then Godzilla comes and they go to -1. That's where it comes from. They're in the negative now.
That's some deep lore right there.
Yep. So go see Godzilla -1 in theaters.
All right. Awesome. Joseph, what do you got for us this week?
What do I have for you?
Well, not for me, but for the classmates.
You,
for
the
world.
the royal you.
Yeah.
Okay, I got quite a few actually.
Quite a few.
Yeah, quite. You don't think that that's a good thing?
Yes, a lot. 10.
Not quite, but more than normal to talk about. I caught up with Leo, the Adam Sandler Leo, streaming on Netflix.
Oh, cool.
It really has no business being as good as it is.
I know, right? It's so good.
Yeah, it's a super cute movie with a very wholesome character of Leo and what he does for the elementary schoolers and like helping them basically just conquer their own like insecurities.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what kind of the movie is. But yeah, it's really, really fun. I think the voice that Adam Sandler puts on for Leo, like this old man voice, it like harkens back to his characters on SNL or Happy Gilmore.
Or his early albums even.
Yeah, it helps a lot. And yeah, Leo's super fun. It's super cute movie.
I'm glad you liked that. I saw your Letterboxd rating was pretty high, and I'm like, oh, I'm so glad he enjoyed it. It's a fun movie.
And yeah, it's animated very well.
How'd you like the kindergartners?
They were pretty funny. They were pretty funny. And like the teacher that had to deal with them.
Oh yeah.
They reminded me, the design of the kindergartners reminded me of there's a character, like a really small character in Horton Hears a Who that is like wall-eyed like that and like floats.
Oh yeah.
And that's like, it reminded me a lot of that like little creature that's in Horton Hears a Who. But yeah, Leo, that's really good.
Good.
On
Awesome.
Netflix.
Sweet.
In the Christmas season now, so I decided to catch up on a movie that came out last year called The Violent Night, streaming on Amazon Prime. David Harbour is Santa Claus, the actual real Santa Claus.
Oh, cool.
And at this point in his career in this world, he is like at the end of his rope of being Santa Claus.
He hates it.
And having to do this job. He's an alcoholic.
We hates it.
It starts off him at a bar just in like a city, and he's dressed as Santa Claus, and like he's disguised, and people just think that he's just like a mall Santa,
just throwing on a drunk.
Yeah, and
That's funny.
And it's Christmas Eve night, and so he is talking to the bar, and there's talking to the bartender.
Wait a minute,
and there's another Santa, like actual mall Santa, who's there.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, he starts trying to talk to him. He's like, why do you do it? And he's like, I don't know, I've just been doing it for a while. And
Dad did it.
He's like, I'm doing it for the kids. And that's the mall Santa saying that.
Wait a minute, he's throwing on a drunk on the eve of Christmas
on
when
a
he
work
should
night.
be
On a work night.
when he should be throwing packages in people's.
Yeah. He quickly realizes that like, all right, better get going. And so he goes up to the roof of this bar. Bartender's like, hey, wait a minute, where are you going? You can't go up there. And then obviously he's like, she gets up there, follows him up. He's gone flying on his sleigh, and the bartender sees it, and she's like, oh my god. And she's like, oh my, it's actually him. It's actually Santa Claus.
NORAD's gonna fly him down for a DUI.
And then he promptly vomits onto her.
Oh, gross.
From this guy. And that's how the movie starts.
Is it an action comedy?
This is a comedy more action. It takes a little bit to get to the violent part of the night.
Okay.
So you're sitting with these characters. And why it's Violent Night is that he delivers to a house, a very rich house, who the matriarch of this family is, I think it's Beverly D'Angelo.
Okay.
And she is just like this corporate, rich, super, like doesn't care about her children type millionaires. And then John Leguizamo plays the villain antagonist in this movie.
Oh, okay.
They come to the house and try to rob them of like these $300 million that are in a vault in the basement of the house that he knows is there. His character is I don't know. It's not the best.
Really?
Yeah.
Leguizamo?
He was the least.
Was it his character or his performance?
Both.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I feel like he leaned too, he took it too seriously.
Okay.
As for the movie that it is, I feel like he tried to do, like, he went to the wrong side of the spectrum. He went less comedy, more just like tried to be scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it didn't really,
especially after that first description of
yeah, it didn't really work. David Harbour is easily the best part of the movie, and his Santa is pretty good. They throw in this weird lore about his character and how he became Santa Claus. It's very strange.
Did they take my idea of how being Santa Claus is a virus?
No.
That was Tim Allen's idea, actually.
Like it's like he was a Viking before he was Santa Claus.
Oh, interesting.
They give you some context to that, and it's cool. It's cool, but yeah, it takes probably up until like end of the second act to actually get to the violent part of it. There's some like throughout the movie, there's some moments, but for the most part, it's just like, okay, I'm like, let's get to the action,
get to the killing,
and it gets crazy. It's very bloody.
We need to do a mashup, like a crossover episode that has David Harbour's Santa Claus.
Okay.
Kurt Russell's Santa Claus.
Oh, yeah.
Mel Gibson's Santa Claus.
Mel Gibson.
Christmas Bloody Christmas has that killer robot Santa Claus.
Oh, yeah.
And then also we'll resurrect Ed Asner from the grave because he played Santa Claus in Elf. He could spout 9/11 conspiracies at us.
But speaking of Santa Claus, I wanted to like, specifically like movie Santa Clauses, like how they portray Santa Claus and like the like parents be like, he's not real. Like, and kids like having to believe in him and all this stuff. There's a couple things about Santa Claus like that always confusing in movies, because one, if in the movie Santa Claus is real, and this is just general,
sure,
Santa Claus is real, but the parents are like, he's not real, then how the fuck those gifts get there?
I always thought that the mom assumed that the dad got it for the kid, and the dad
they just don't
assumed that
communicate.
The mom. Well, yeah, that's the American way.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it's a huge hole. It's a huge plot hole.
I don't buy it. That's one thing. Like, how do they get there?
It's the magic of Christmas. Don't you know?
Yeah, but
that doesn't explain.
He uses magic.
No. I'm saying to the parents who say listen.
I'm listening.
No, you're not. You're talking.
That's why God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth.
The parents are like, they like, obviously their parents and like, oh, Santa doesn't exist. But on Christmas Day, there's all these presents that neither of them got for their kid under the tree. And
the parents still believe that Christmas Santa doesn't exist.
There's no explanation as to how those, to the parents, as to how those gifts got there.
So where do the parents think it came from?
Well, the parents don't think of anything because Santa does this little wand trick. And
so you're saying the magic erased their brains.
Yeah.
He makes them think that they did get them. He hypnotizes them.
That's actually good. That's a good canon.
That's not bad, but that's
what I thought.
It's a little bit of a stretch, but it's not bad.
I would strike Santa if I ever saw him.
You just go around, imagine that you're imagine like Steven Seagal going through life.
Another thing,
every time you meet a celebrity or God, you can punch them.
Another thing is that in movies, when Santa is leaving a house, he never goes to the next house. He fucking just flies off.
You're right. He fucks off 2.5 miles away.
He goes to another state. He's in another country.
All those people
has a route.
They're not Christians. That's why.
Yeah. They're not Christians. They don't believe in our Lord and Savior, Santa
Claus.
Claus.
Put the Christ back in Christmas. Santa Claus, our Lord and Savior, is Jesus.
Yeah, he totally just skips a whole neighborhood. He goes to one house and then just
the only one that does it right is in the Santa Claus
in the movie. Santa Claus?
He takes off and then lands like right next door at the next right across the street.
Yeah,
and he's like, "Whoa, this is gonna be a long night."
Yeah, it's gonna be a long night. It's old Saint Nick.
But I'll have to say, Violent Night, it is worth a watch. It's about a 3-star movie.
You said that was on Prime, right?
Yeah, it's on Prime.
Okay, I'll watch that.
Yeah, it
fun.
ends up being fun.
Did your parents tell you Santa Claus was real?
I don't remember.
When did you stop believing?
Oh no!
I've never stopped believing.
Yeah, no. My mom immediately like snuffed that
When you
flame
were born?
out when I was in 2nd grade. She was just like.
By the way, I'm doing all this shit.
Freeloader getting all the credit.
No, I asked her. I asked her. I was like, "Is Santa Claus real?" She was like, "No." And then me being the impressionable 2nd grader that I was, I went back to school and told everyone in the class that Santa Claus wasn't real.
Good. Fuck
and I
those
got
kids.
a slap on the wrist. Oh my God.
It was always a wink to us. It was always like, hey, Santa got you these gifts.
Oh,
and we're like,
yeah.
oh, thanks, Santa. Like, it was like a wink and a nod.
Yeah, I was a little bit more nihilistic about my approach to Santa Claus.
My parents just changed it from Santa to like, oh, Jack got this for you, my cat.
Oh, the cat. Okay. Yeah. We did get some of those.
Oh, that's sweet. That's sweet.
This
I'll
is a
have
gift
to
from-
remember that when I get a little one.
This is a gift from Cookie.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thanks, Cookie.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh,
Wow.
Thanks
Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Oh, wow. An avocado.
Yeah.
And you take your eye around the cat. Oh,
God, did you even read the list?
I know.
Jesus.
What a fucking loser cat this is.
oh, wonderful. I love this.
My next one is actually a short. It's about 30, 40 minutes long. It's on Apple TV.
It's a long short.
Came out last year, I believe, like last year around this time. This is called The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. And it is a children's book that was adapted into an animated. And I think it was nominated for Best Animated Feature.
It was, yeah.
And this is like, it's illustrated and it's animated and it's told very much like a children's book. But at the same time, there's a lot of like adult themes that
It's pretty sad.
would hit you pretty good. Yeah, I got teary-eyed and in this, and it's essentially a boy who is just lost in this snowy terrain, and like the title says, he is the boy. He meets the mole, the fox, and the horse in that order, and they just life lessons are just told throughout this short, and
Much like Leo.
yeah, and it's very wholesome, very sweet, and it's like I didn't think that this would get me like this.
No.
But yeah, it's on Apple TV. It's worth the time that it is.
Mitch, this is one of Mitch's tops of last year.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, he's bawled his eyes out watching this.
Yeah, and it's a book that came out like 4 years ago.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And
Cool, awesome.
Yeah, and that's really good. The next one is streaming on Netflix, directed by I think Sam Esmail, like email with an S after the
Oh,
Esmail.
I know what this is.
This is The Guilty, and this is starring Jake Gyllenhaal as a.
Oh, that's not what I thought it was.
Okay. This is Jake Gyllenhaal starring as he was a police officer who was demoted into a 911 responder. Like he's just working at the call center.
Yeah, he's the operator.
And the whole movie, it takes place in the call center, and you're just hearing this story, this certain specific caller who keeps calling it just through the phone, and essentially you're talking to a person who is, I guess you are assumed to be being kidnapped or being held hostage by her ex-husband.
Okay.
And I'm not going to give too much away because there's some reveals. But it gets very intense. And especially because you can only hear what is happening on the other line. He talks to the woman's young daughter, like very young daughter. I think she's like 6 or something, and she's like crying on the other line, talking like where's my mommy? I just want to see my mommy. And then she's like left alone at home, and you see the frustration in Jake Gyllenhaal's character because at the same time, while he is dealing with this, he is a demoted police officer for something that is revealed later in the movie for something that he did. You can imagine as a police officer what he would have done.
He was too nice.
Yeah,
He cared too much.
yeah,
He cared too much about his community.
and yeah, it gets pretty intense, and it's like an hour and 40, but it's kind of like Phone Booth, the Colin Farrell movie. Yeah, a little bit more intense than that for sure. And but this one it kept me on the edge of my couch.
Yeah. It's actually directed by Anton Fuqua.
Oh yeah, Fuqua. That's right. Fuqua.
I was gonna say because Sam Esmail, he's the guy that did Mr. Robot, and he has a new movie out on Netflix right now that haven't got a chance to watch it yet. I'm looking forward to
Antoine
it.
Fuqua.
Fuqua.
Yeah, did that. Director of Training Day.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this movie was based off, it's a remake from a Danish movie, also called The Guilty.
Oh, is it?
I've seen the Danish version. It was fucking intense.
Yeah. So this one also pretty intense.
Nice.
And then my next one is the Sam Ismail movie.
Oh, okay.
And The Guilty is on Netflix.
Yeah.
And this just came out yesterday, Friday. This is called Leave the World Behind. And this is starring Ethan Hawke, Mahershala Ali, Julia Roberts, and then Kevin Bacon as well is in this movie.
It's a star-studded cast.
A very small part Kevin Bacon has. And I will
He was top billed.
I will also not talk about much of this movie because don't go into it like looking up anything if you're gonna watch it because it went places that I did not think it was gonna go.
What's it called again?
It's called Leave the World Behind, and basically Julia Roberts and Ethan Hawke are a couple, married couple with kids, and they live in the city. And the movie starts with Julia Roberts packing a bag, waking up Ethan Hawke, saying like, "We're gonna go on a vacation. We're gonna stay the night or the weekend at this house in the country, sort of like probably like an hour away from New York." Is where
Just
they
like
live.
Instantaneously, like she woke up, she's like, "We're going on a vacation."
Yeah. And then she gives that like, and Ethan Hawke is like, I was like, what? We're doing this right now? And okay, I guess we're gonna go. And so that's
when everything ensues.
That's how the movie starts. They're driving, they get there, and then Mahershala Ali is a character who owns the house that they rent, and they show up later in the movie, and there is an event in the world that is happening that is, I really don't want to give too much away.
That's okay.
But Save Yourself mixed with The Happening.
That's not really.
I've never seen it, so I'm literally just throwing shit out.
But yeah, it is. It's really good. I liked it a lot.
Cool.
It's
good to hear.
It's a long movie, 2 hours and almost 2.5 hours. But I was enthralled. I was enthralled throughout, and it gets pretty intense. The way that the movie is made is really interesting. I like the tone.
Yeah.
There are certain scenes, like the movie starts like very eerily, I think that's a word. And there's definitely some moments where I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck is happening? It's definitely worth your time. And that's on Netflix. It just came out. And I wish I could talk about it because there's some stuff that happened.
I'm probably gonna watch it tonight. Maybe we can remote in and do a spoiler or something.
If we're gonna do a bonus tonight,
just say what you want to say. Tyler. Say what you're gonna say, Tyler.
Anyways, go ahead.
Okay. But yeah, that's streaming on Netflix, and yeah, it's
worth the time.
Definitely worth your time.
Sounds awesome.
And that's all I have.
That sounds like that's a very eclectic collection of streaming picks from both of you guys. I, for myself, had only one, basically one night to watch like a movie that I wasn't forced to watch.
It wasn't forced to at gunpoint.
And that is going to be Jurassic Park 3.
Oh, I love how you had one night to watch a movie.
And then I put on Jurassic.
You put Jurassic Park 3.
I have a little bit of nostalgia with Jurassic Park 3. The patriarch of the Minor family, he was gracious enough long ago in my boyhood to get me premiere passes for me and my mom to watch Jurassic Park 3. And
cool.
Yeah, it was like a totally new world that I never knew about. Like, oh, you can see movies before they're released. And I was only 12 years old, maybe a little bit, probably younger.
Okay.
I got a gray T-shirt, which unfortunately has been lost in moves and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I wanted to tell this funny story with this streaming pick. Is one of the radio jockeys for I believe it was 98 Rock. He was hosting the premiere, one of the hosts, and he told all the audience members, who were all probably drunk and having a great time, because there's a lot of people there, and a lot of people in my young boy eyes were having fun, but I didn't know what was happening now.
Okay.
And the radio jockey said, everyone get up out of your chairs and act like a velociraptor.
Oh, boy.
Me loving velociraptors in the Jurassic, I was going full hard velociraptor like on these audiences. And everyone was laughing at me, and they're like, what? Like, who is this kid? Like,
Tyler, can you give us your best Velociraptor screech?
no, I won't do that.
Come on.
No, I'm
Dance for us, clown.
I am already embarrassed by
Dance,
even
clown.
telling this tale. But anyway, so Jurassic Park 3, revisiting it last week, I actually think this is pretty fine Jurassic Park movie. It really leans into the schlockiness and cheesiness of it all. There's a lot of great like violence that happens, especially in the beginning of the movie where they go to the island.
That's where the Compy attacks at the beginning, right?
No, that's Jurassic
That's
Park
number 2. Okay. That's Lost
2.
World Jurassic Park.
Yeah, so Jurassic Park 3 is with the Spinosaurus, where the guy like he like goes in front of the plane, and then the pilot's like, I can't stop this plane.
Yeah.
And I really need to get a sound drop of that. I can't stop this plane. I don't know.
What would you use it for?
I don't see that's where I have to brainstorm. Like, how can
what the fuck?
But like as a star-studded cast though, like you have Sam Neill, William H. Macy, Tia Leone, and yeah, no, that's pretty much it.
No Jeff Goldblum.
Isn't Peter Stormare in that too? Or is he in the second
That's
one?
the second one.
He's okay. I
Yeah.
he gets ripped apart by compies.
Yeah. What's interesting though is Michael Crichton is credited as a writer for this movie.
REM? No,
Michael Crichton. He's the guy who wrote the book.
Yeah, he's the guy who wrote the book.
Wait, REM guy.
That's Michael Stipes.
Stipes.
Ah.
Yes. I had it on the tip of my tongue. But I think Jurassic Park 3 is really good. The kid is a pain in the ass, but his survival skills like really surpass his personality. It's crazy.
I think it's weird. I thought it was weird in that Spinosaurus scene when they're taking off and they're like, "We got to get out of here. There's a Spinosaurus on the runway." Oh boy!
I think one of my favorite scenes like is the ending, really. Like if I'm gonna, because like everyone can like crap on this movie saying like, oh, this is like the worst Jurassic Park, and it's like, yeah, but think about the concept. Like they're leaning in on like how like outrageous like this story is, and
Isn't this crazy?
Like I really appreciated that, but at the end of the movie, you find out that Sam Neill's character's assistant like stole a raptor egg, or it was like a raptor egg.
They're always trying to get it back to make money off of it.
Yeah,
it's just like Alien.
Back to engine.
It's like, yeah, it's fucking, what's his name? Paul Reiser in Aliens trying to get the viable embryo back.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And then like the raptors, like they're portrayed as being like these like ultra intelligent animals, and it just the ending is so funny because the raptors are like going up to them really close. And it just like does like this little head nod, like
he's got. What's that again? Say that again. How's a so you do know how to do a Velociraptor impression?
That was involuntary. I should probably have not have done that, especially on there.
Doesn't Sam Neill like blow a horn that's made out of their skull or something?
Yes, no, because he excavated because the raptors in Jurassic Park aren't like real raptors from the past. Like they have like mixed frog DNA. But he, like in the beginning of the movie, they established that he excavates a real raptor and like takes like the vocal like bone or something like that.
It's like the air chamber where they shoot their like wind through to make their shrieking sounds.
Yeah, so when he blows in it, like it creates like a natural sound, and like the raptors like they like back up. They're like, "What the hell is this?
What the hee-haw?"
Yeah, what the hee-haw? And then and then like the very very ending, you have like you have the whole U.S. Navy storming the beach. So I watched Jurassic Park 3 as my streaming pick, and I think it's a great.
Wait, where's it streaming?
It's streaming on Amazon Prime.
Oh, okay.
So I encourage everyone who is a fan of Jurassic Park to check that out.
We have one more movie that we all watched this week, right?
Yes, we did.
May, December.
Yes.
We all watched May, December.
God. May, December.
We're gonna give a super quick super quick
rundown
takes on that. I thought it was a masterclass of acting. This is Todd Haynes. This is Todd Haynes' new movie, who we covered his movie Safe on this podcast about a year ago.
That's right.
That was Sabrina's homework that we were doing for her.
Oh, yeah.
And also starring, what's her name?
Julianne Moore.
Julianne Moore, yeah. And so Todd Haynes never makes a movie that has a boring plot. And this is about a character who is a teacher who had sex with her junior high school student some years ago, made national headlines. And then instead of...
I thought she was a movie star.
No. So
she was a teacher?
Julianne Moore was the teacher, and she had sex with this 7th grader. And in prison, she gave birth to his baby, and they later got married. Okay. Now, we pick up the story years later where their kids are up and grown. And
he's 36, the age that she was.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Natalie Portman is an actress who's going to play Julianne Moore's character.
Who's also 36.
In a biopic. So she's following them in their life, and you get to see a glimpse into what these people's lives look like.
Oh, I can't wait to talk about this movie. I have a lot to
20
say.
years later or so, 23 years later, because he was 13, I think, right at the time, right?
Yeah, he was 13. He was 13 years old.
13 years old.
Grade.
Yeah. Yes. And every performance,
oh my God.
To me, every performance in this is absolute banger. What'd you guys think?
I enjoyed it for the most part. Mm-hmm. I just really didn't like the music.
Okay, all right. We'll get into that in a second. Tyler, what'd you think?
What did I think about it? Confused emotions that ran through me.
Whether you didn't like it or not?
Yeah.
He wishes he was that 13-year-old.
God, no. In the beginning of the movie, hated it.
Okay.
But at the end, just chef's kiss. Just, oh my God.
Okay.
Just great.
What happened at the beginning that made you hate it?
We can get into that.
Well, that's why I'm asking you.
We'll get into that in the individual episode.
We're gonna do a spoiler review, talk about this movie, because we have to spoil it to talk about it. I think
there's not really any spoilers.
I think that there's a motivation of Natalie Portman's character that is revealed near the end that really is probably something that you discover as the movie goes on. But we're going to give an in-depth conversation about that and give our review of May December on the Patreon.
Yes.
So if you're not a Patreon member, you can go subscribe, Middle Class Film, or patreon.com/middleclassfilmclass, and $5 gets you on the wheel, but $2 a month is a new student, I think is what it's called, right?
Yeah, or you can go to your local AM/PM in Sacramento, and I'll be there.
Tyler be there chugging body armor and smoking American spirits.
Yeah,
that's two Slurpees and one in each hand.
Yeah, waiting for the ambulance to arrive.
Yeah, double fisting Slurpees with an ambulance in tow.
Anything else you guys want?
Want?
No, before we close the show out.
Oh, okay.
No, I think we've covered it all.
Okay, cool. So
it's a great episode.
Thank you to the classmates and new students in the chat and on YouTube that are still with us. And thank you to our cool-ass UR duties over on Patreon. That's Javier, listener Steven, Heather Sachs, Ryan, Corbin, and Chris. And if you want to support us on the Patreon, hit us up, patreon.com/middleclassfilmclass. You can join the class and support what we're doing here, and also get some advanced content like spoiler episodes for May, December, and some watch-alongs that we do too. Until next time. Thank you for following us as we gab and chatter and talk with Terrence Martin. Go see his movie Get Away If You Can, streaming on Tubi as of December 15th. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/middleclassfilmclass, and send us an email, mcfcpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, and please follow us on Instagram at Middle Class Film Class, and leave us a voicemail, why don't you, at 209-730-6010.
And follow us on Twitter at Podcast MCFC and on TikTok at Middle Class Film Class.
Yes, thank you everybody for joining us on the YouTube page. It means a lot. We're making a big push over there, so hopefully we'll see you on the YouTube channel. See you later.
See ya.
See you next time.
Class dismissed.
I gotta get out of here. The bell doesn't dismiss you. I dismiss you.
You're free to go.
See you next week.
See you later. See you later.
That's a wrap.
Great show.